I thought the same thing when the guy said it, cause like I said, I literally like watched it when I was in the gym, and I'm like,
oh,
well, you could just put.
Damn, that's what's up. That's what's up.
I'm like, you could just put the description in. Like I was on the same page that like you could put or introduce the person not in the conversation, but like on your YouTube channel. I mean, like on your channel.
Right, and then also it's just like as you talk, I think like, you know, people will get to know like sort of like what you do, I guess. So it's kind of like, you know, I don't know if it would be like repetitive. I mean, just like the name. And then that was the other thing too. I wanted to keep it like, I don't want to be like the person that's like talking to the audience, talking to the camera. You know what I mean? I kind of wanted to be like where as though the camera not even there.
Right,
you know?
right.
Like,
super informal.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, I started recording though. So I was just gonna ask you, you went to Miami recently, I think?
I did, yeah.
How was that?
Last week. It was fun. To say the least. I mean, it was a shit show too.
Yeah.
Like, I tried to put my mask on.
Oh yeah.
But after a while, that shit just like took it off. Like, just did what the people do.
That's what I was about to say, because people probably not wearing them. Like
yeah,
that
to be honest, like, if you wear a mask down there, they look at you like you got like 3 heads. So like after a certain point, I'm in the club and like everyone's looking like, what the fuck you're doing with a mask? Because if COVID isn't a thing, I just took it off and said, shit, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, like you will go certain places, like certain clubs, and like nobody is wearing a mask like at all. It's just like it's not inexistent. Like it's just like nothing is going on. You know what I mean? So,
bro, COVID is not a thing in Miami.
Yeah,
like legit, it's like the whole world is afraid of this, and then you go to Miami and it's like
whatever,
bro, it never hit us, like for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I got crazy. I mean, but that's like, it was my first time there too, so
for real?
I feel like that's what you do. Like you get it all out first, and probably the last time that I'm going there for a while.
Yeah.
Legit.
Dang. I would have assumed that you had been there already. I don't know why I thought that. I guess because you travel a lot, I figured you might have been there.
I mean, usually I try to like international trips. Like the only domestic trips that I've done like as a vacation outside of like me visiting, because you know Tiffany played ball in college, so a lot of like the places that I've gone to domestically like has been just to see her game, so it's like real quick, and at that point I wasn't even 21, so I couldn't even experience
like really
it.
Experiencing the areas.
But Vegas and New Orleans are places that like if I'm traveling inside the US, it'll be one of those two places. Miami's super expensive, which it was, and then I just never understood like the hype. People go there, you rent cars, everyone like buying outfits just and like splurging, and I'm just like, no, that's not me. No, not at all.
What type of trips do you like? You like to experience? Like I feel like New Orleans, like that's something where like you want to really like get the food and stuff like that, like kind of like. But then they also have like drinking and stuff like this.
Oh yeah, Bourbon Street, bro. Right. You just like there has to be drinks there, but I like.
But it's more like cultural.
Type. Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
Bro, I've been wanting to do one of those like a retreat, like I just been picturing going to, I don't know, I've been thinking about St. Lucia. I don't know why I keep saying St. Lucia, but I want to go there and like just be on like one of those like really like just chill, maybe like a chill resort. I don't even like, I'm picturing it where as though it's not that many people around, and I can just like wear like a robe or some shit and just like go to a spa like that, like, really get that like rejuvenating, you know, that energizing experience, you know?
Yeah, usually that's what I would look for, but yeah, like you said, do like a villa or something like that. Just like chill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Make it feel like you own this island.
Yeah, exactly. When we was in Turks, we had went to one of the guys that we had met. We went to the house that he was staying at. I guess it was a villa, but it's just like real like out of the way of things. Like I don't know, like he didn't really have neighbors that close by, but like they had a pool, like a personal pool and everything like that. And one of my friends, he was mentioning like going to Jamaica. I don't know if the guy that I was just talking about did it, but some people, they get like their personal like personal chefs, and they would just like sort of just like chill and you know, like
Bruh, things have definitely advanced. Like Airbnb, I've seen on Instagram like friends booking Airbnbs like Jamaica and these other places, and like you can add on a personal chef and stuff like that. So
dang,
like you said, that'd be lit.
Yeah,
I've never done it, but definitely lit.
That's something that I gotta do.
Yeah, look into it. I think some Airbnbs, like the right host, would give you the option to like add on a personal chef, like you said, especially if it's remote, right? Like if you're somewhere where it's remote, you can't get food, it's like it's pretty much like mandatory for them to have someone to cook the food for you. But yeah, people, like I said, they're including that in the Airbnb. I've never thought it'd get to a point where an Airbnb would be just as like luxurious as like booking through like a travel agent or like a resort or something like that. But now shit is crazy.
That is tough. That is tough. Jasmine, she had mentioned that you did like travel abroad at one point. Did you ever travel like for school?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say travel abroad.
It wasn't like studying, it was more so like a trip maybe? Or?
Right, yeah, it was more so like a trip. The only reason why I say I wouldn't say is because like I wasn't taking courses or anything.
Yeah, right. That's
and it wasn't like a whole semester.
That. Yeah, that's
but I did travel for school. That was my first international trip actually. It was in Asia, so Southeast Asia. I was in Burma. Now they call it like the Union of Myanmar. Crazy is a bunch of turmoil there, so like I felt like that was the sweet spot. But bro, that was the craziest experience. It was like a 22-hour flight or something like that. So that was insane.
That's insane in itself, just the flight.
Bro, economy too. Like, bro, so it was like I literally like was so cramped, and all I felt was, I felt like I spent days on that fucking plane, bro. Like, wake up, still on the plane, sleep, wake up, still on the plane, eat, wake up, still on the plane. I'm like, yo, what the I'm never getting there. Then when I got there, they don't see a lot of black people. So like, what you, like the type of shit that you see in movies, like legit, like I experienced that. Points, like people pointing at me, wanting to take photos with me. Who knows who Instagram and Facebook pages I'm on, just like the random black guy with these people. They kept calling me Obama.
That's what I was about to say.
Bro, it was insane. Obama, bro. And that's because I went, I think like a month after, because like, again, it was just perfect timing that like they had closed their borders up to like Americans, so like for a while people couldn't even travel there. When they opened it up, similar to like Cuba, like they're just like, you have to, it's like set reasons that like they honor for you to travel there. So like missionary trips, like if you're going like for educational purposes, which that one was, like it was a list where like if you want to travel there, like I said, I think Cuba still has those same restrictions. Like the timing was right. Like it was through my school. We didn't take any courses there, but we like branded it as like this Hillel trip, which is like, we were supposed to go there and study like the Jewish community. Very little of that was being done. It was a fun trip. But yeah, like I said all that to say this, they just had opened their borders up to the US. In doing so, Obama came there, of course, to like make amends. So when we got there, it was crazy because that was their only frame of reference as it relates to like black people. So it's like they see me, I look nothing like Obama, but they're just like, Obama, and I'm just like, yo, bro. At first that shit was super weird, because like, imagine you walking down the street and you see people pointing, laughing, like literally like laughing at you, like taking photos. You just like, your guard is up. Like what the fuck? Like you think I'm funny? Like, you get what I'm saying? And then I embraced it. And once I did that, that shit was like the perfect trip. Perfect trip.
That's dope.
At one point I'm just like, yeah, like they keep calling me Obama and I'm just like acting like I'm the president and shit. Probably get arrested. Impersonating him, bro. But no, that was my first trip via school. And after that, like, similar to like tattoos, I feel like once you travel internationally, you can't stop unless you have like a real bad experience. It's one of those things for like, it just opens up the floodgate. So like after that, I've done business travel,
Yeah.
like with my job.
I wanted to get into that too. Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
You should. Like, I'm pretty sure with your firm, it operates very similar to where I'm coming from. So it's like business travel, bro. You like, I'm pretty sure they pay for business. You'll get a per diem or like an allowance every day. Like, bro, you want to do that. If you can, you definitely want to travel on your company's dime. Like, by no means.
Yeah. I know, like, I feel like when I've traveled, like especially when I was younger, it didn't. I don't know if I know, like, if I could pinpoint the things that really, like, I guess, altered my perspective. But I do feel like because I was able to travel, I do know, like, something in me was like sort of like changed, I guess, like as far as just like, you know, knowing that there's more out there. Like, do you feel like, can you pinpoint, I guess, like anything that, like, you know, sort of opened you up, like broadened your horizons, I guess, or like, you know, as far as like getting out and being able to see different stuff?
I mean, yeah, in general, like, to your point, I'll be lying if I said that there's like a moment in time where I can say that, like, exactly. At that point I was like, oh shit, like, it opened my eyes up. I'm blanking on it. I think it really was, like one or two things. The first one, to your point, you just understand, and this is like a real thought, and I've tried to like tell that to like family, even like mentees and stuff, that like the world is bigger than what you know of it in terms of like where you grew up. And like you said, traveling helps that, like your I'll say like your cultural competency, if you will, like your ability to like see people and understand not only like things that you don't have, but more importantly things that you do. And I feel like, no knock on like foreigners, and not to say that like they live a hard life, but I've seen in my travels like a lot of things that like I took for granted. So that opened me up to your point, where it's just like, the world is bigger than, again, what you grew up in, what you know. Then there's also that angle where like you appreciate a lot. Like, you come back and I'm just like, prime example, again, like no knock on any like
I get what you
anyone from there, but
right
traveled somewhere, sewage system was super bad, or I wouldn't even use bad because that's like relative, but either way, the fact was that when we went to like the restroom, we couldn't flush the like toilet paper.
Right.
Granted, dudes, it's fine if we're like.
I heard somebody say the same thing recently. That like, you couldn't flush. So,
bro, imagine again, like, I guess being super graphic right now, but like, you taking the shit, right?
And you can't flush that.
And then you put it in
something.
The like waistband, like all of them got waistbands.
So a bunch of people.
Right, just like, like that type of thing. It's just like, oh, bam. Travel somewhere as well where like the shot. I like to take hot showers, like to the point where borderline crazy, but like I want it like scorching a little bit. Like I get it to a point where like it's just hot, where it's like, but I can still take it. But I've been places where there was no hot water, so I had to take cold showers. Again, like imagine like going there and then coming back home and like you're taking a hot shower, no matter where it is. The PJ or like the project, like no matter where you live, it's just like you have that luxury. A lot of places here where it's just like, damn, I went home and I'm just like, damn, I learned a lot. It was a good trip, beautiful people, but I also appreciate a lot of things that we take for granted. You can still get that if you travel like within the U.S. If you pick your places right, or neighborhoods, you could probably still see those same struggles, but it's, I think, on a bigger scale. And like you don't really appreciate it when you see it where you live in terms of like traveling within the U.S., but like you really appreciate when you're just like, damn, like the scale is much bigger. Like where I traveled again, like it wasn't even like with the whole like sword system, it had nothing to do with like class, or very little to do with class, right? It's not like the people couldn't like afford to have a good like septic tank or whatever, just throwing it out there. It's just like, this is a broader issue with the country, pretty much. You get what I'm saying? It's like it really didn't, like, we weren't at a, like, the place was beautiful where we stayed. However, like, the sword system, it ran throughout everyone who lived there. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, here you got to find those pockets, but you'll always find someone that could tell you like, well, I'm good, right? Like, at the end of the day, yeah, you got to take cold showers, but like, I just go in the house and I take hot. But like, here it's like, I'm pretty sure that like we could have found maybe not the best hotel, but like one that is up there that you would be like, oh, that's super nice, and they probably would still have that same trash bin there and say that like, look, our storage system doesn't work. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's like infrastructure type things that like people really don't like appreciate as much.
I always think of this time when I was in Mexico when I was little. I must have been like, I don't know, like 8 maybe. Like I had been in elementary school, but we were staying in San Diego because we was visiting my aunt. She used to live in San Diego, but we traveled down to Tijuana, and that was like eye-opening for me. Like, and it was, I'm young, so I don't even like. I mean, I have like, that was the first time I probably even been. I think that was the first time I've been to like a different country. And I mean, of course, like that's right on the border of California. Like, but I just remember this one like thing from, well, not one, there's a few things, but one thing always stands out to me, and that was we were walking, and my aunt, she had a Sprite soda, and it was just this little girl. She had like walked up on her, was like pulling on her shirt, and was pretty much like, can I have your soda? And she had already like started drinking it and everything like that. I'm just like, I don't know why that stood out to me so much, is the fact that like she wanted a soda and was just willing to ask. And I'm just like, man, like that's that's a different type of I guess like a different experience, I guess, or a different, I don't want to say struggle, but
for sure,
something stood out.
For sure,
Oh, who you about to?
No.
But I wanted to talk to you because we had talked. I don't remember what it must have been, like 4th of July, I think. But I was telling you that I think that you're like an anomaly, or like you like a small percent. You know what I mean? As far as just like your experiences and like getting to where that you are now. Like I wanna ask, like, can you pinpoint like any like role models like coming up, I guess, from like, when you were younger that like sort of made, like, I don't know if like, did you have any that like kind of pointed you into a certain direction where it was like, this is the better way to go, rather than,
Yeah, like a lot, like since elementary school. That's probably like the earliest memory that I have until like now. Like from a teacher perspective, in elementary school there was like an art teacher that I had.
Bro, I had an art teacher too. That's crazy.
At Cecil. And to be honest, like she feel like my interest in art, whether that was like making it or supporting people who do, right? Like yourself is an example, but like pretty sure her name was Miss Shelley. There was a librarian at Cecil Elementary School as well. Pretty sure her name was like Miss Allred. But Miss Shelley, from an art perspective, she was the one who got me into the Twigs program.
I had an art teacher that did the
so
same
I
thing.
told you, I mentioned I was doing the Twigs program. Could have gotten me into like the Baltimore School for the Arts, but I told you I like veered off. And
it's crazy. My art teacher did the exact same thing, and I can't remember what grade it was, but she definitely like introduced me to Twigs. She was like, I think she told my mother or something like that, like, you should. That's crazy. But yeah, go ahead.
And she had seen something in me that like I didn't see. So like that was definitely one person. I mean, granted, I didn't go to BSA or Baltimore School for the Arts, but like that experience was valuable in itself. Exactly. So I respect her for that. The librarian, I was not a reader, and she still not a reader, but at least like she showed me and pushed me. And to be honest, I don't know, back to like the art teacher, don't know what they seen in me, but I was that kid that they like took under their wing.
Yeah.
Went to middle school. There was an English teacher, Miss Johnson, at Francis Scott Key. Again, pushed me in ways that like I didn't want her to, I guess, if you will. I also played basketball at Francis Scott Key, so like we had coaches and stuff like that that like also like pushed me academically, but also physically as well. So like that was insane.
Francis Scott Key. So what were you playing? You said sports.
At Francis Scott Key? Yeah, I was playing basketball.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Used to play basketball on the team.
Yeah.
Past life, yeah. My father was my coach, so like he also like instilled not only like that physical strength, but like when he could, he had his faults, but for the most part, like it was like being strong and all of that stuff. I mean, my family, I won't even like name them. All of them for real have like helped me out. But if you're talking about like from an outsider perspective, because family, I like to say that's their job. So it's like I don't give them as much credit openly, because I feel like, well, that's what you're supposed to do. But outside of family, it was like my art teacher, my librarian, like I said, my coaches, I'd say. High school, at City, it was Miss Tajon. Teachers that like I did not like at the moment. Yeah, bro, like
Tajon was tough.
Hindsight, did not like it. But like in the moment didn't like it, but like hindsight, I'm like, okay, I get you.
I feel that for sure, because Miss Tajon, like, she definitely pushed me to a point where like I got over that like not wanting to do something. I don't know, it's like certain points in your life where you gotta like, you have to do something regardless of like how you feel about it. And I feel like her class, it got me to that point where like you need to do this, although like you don't feel like doing it, or like, you know, you're not motivated enough to do it, like you just gotta do it. And like she was like giving those assignments, so it was just like, let me just do that.
And bro, it wasn't an option. Like that's why I like her, because like she like, you're gonna do well, like regardless. Like she's gonna force that into you.
And then on top of that, like I feel like she was also she had like expectations of, like she would verbalize that, so it was almost like, I'm disappointed, you know what I mean, if you don't do this, you know what I mean. So that's also a big
Miss Armenti, another teacher that, again, hindsight, I respected. In that moment, I'm like, bruh, this is too hard. Too hard. I think those were probably the main ones, but a bunch of teachers there.
Did you ever have Mrs. Swartley? I don't know if
no. Okay. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Mr. Swartley was my guy.
For I mean, was he mad? No. Ooh.
He was the technology, and he also coached the chess team, I think. But he was like the one of the tech classes, I think.
The only like I had, I think it was like AP or IB computer science with Mr. Oakes.
Oh, yeah, I had
Mr. Oakes, the only person that I know.
Yeah.
He was another person that was good.
So was you full IB? I know I'm like jumping. But,
no, I wasn't.
No? Okay. No. Yeah.
I know they were pushing me to do that, but I just did like a hybrid. I probably should have, because like I had AP and IB classes. So like I didn't have any like regular classes, if you will. Like all the classes that I've taken were probably were AP or IB courses. So I probably should have just went like full IB, but I think it was what was it? It was me being lazy. It was something like with the difference that I'm just like, no, that's too. I think it might have been, I don't know, like I don't know. Maybe you had to have like more credits. It was something where like there was bigger like a greater demand. Like I think it was something like that with IB that I'm just like, no. And then at that moment, I didn't truly appreciate the importance of like going into college with credits already. So that's something, again, in hindsight, I'm like, yo, you should have taken advantage of that, because you probably could have underloaded when you went there, graduated early. But like, yo, you can't tell a well, at the time we were 15, whatever age it, like when you like you can't explain that to a 15-year-old or 16-year-old to be like, oh well, when you get to college you can take less class. No, when I get there, I'm gonna just take whatever I gotta take.
I was about to ask you that. Like, do you think, is there a way to like give somebody that, like, what's that, foresight, like, in order to like see forward, more, to be able to like appreciate? Because why were those, why were the people that were in IB, like, they were like really serious about like classes and stuff like that, and I feel like they also had plans for college, but like how do you even instill that? I guess I don't know, like that's something that I've been interested like trying to think about.
I mean, that's a good question. And the answer that no one probably wants to hear is that, like, partly you can't, in terms of like enforcing it. It really is up to
that's true.
The individual, right? As with anything, it's like it's up to the individual to understand and appreciate the importance. No matter like how many lectures you get, people can't really like tie your hands up and like force you to really get it. You get what I'm saying? That's with like anything. But I would imagine those students, like you said, and I see their faces now in my class, like those students where I look at them just like, yo, they were like, y'all doing too much. Like at the time, it's like, bro, like what? It's a party on Saturday, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, you want what for IB?
Yeah, bro. Though.
It probably was their parents and stuff like that. Like they probably, like, it didn't end once they left city or whatever high school. Like those four walls, like that, like those conversations didn't end there. It wasn't just like teachers. And unfortunately, there are people, most people, it's like once they leave those four walls, they don't have that same pressure, those same talks, right? And the difference between, I'll put myself in that bucket, us and them, or me and them, let's just say, keeping it personal.
I'm the same way, I feel,
is they left city, they probably got home, and their parents were probably asking those same questions, right? Having those same checkups that the teachers are doing. And that's where like that disconnect is. In order to really instill it, you just got to be that person who gives them shit when they go back home. Whether that's a brother, a cousin, a friend, you get what I'm saying? Just like a mentor, like just having those conversations. And it might, and it will, like, make them upset, irritate them in that moment, but like, you drive something home hard enough, goes back to my point, like you can't force them to appreciate it, but it won't leave their mind. You get what I'm saying? There's one thing to like at least make the effort and like in the back of somebody's mind know that like, oh yeah, Tim, for example, right? Like he's really hard on me. He keep talking about how important this college shit is, right? Like I don't see it yet. But if you keep having those discussions, right? Even if I decide that like I still don't want to take IB, at least like I'm inching with every conversation that we're having, like the chance of me finally getting it is like getting greater, if you will, right? If you don't have those conversations at all, it's not possible, right? Like if I'm not having those conversations, like no, like that choice was mine in city, honestly. Like I think I might have asked my mother, but that was like a 2-second conversation. I don't even know if I asked her. I think I told her what my decision would be, right? Like that decision was mine to say.
I was the same
15,
way.
16-year-old. Do I want to take 4IB? No.
I was the same exact way.
It ended there. Like no, not doing it, right? Like I didn't have any like pushback, which is no fault of like my mother's at all. But what could have helped was just that like that pressure from someone. But it worked out. I eventually understood it. So.
And so I wanted to, I guess, like distinguish, because some people, they'll say like the difference, like they'll try to compare like the difference between role models and mentors. Like mentors is somebody that you can like go to directly, but then role models is somebody that you can just like see from a distance, I guess.
Right.
So did you have anyone that like you saw from a distance that like was like, okay, I want to be like this person, or I want to do something like sort of like similar to what this person is doing? Was there anybody that you could pinpoint for that?
My sister, for example.
Okay,
like,
bro, my sister set the tone too for me.
She was in college, she was doing it, right? Like that was a huge one. Keita, my cousin, as well. Like I had people, Cohen, my cousin's sister. Like I had people that like were in it.
She got like a PhD or something like that.
She just got her second master's, I think. So yeah, I had seen, like, thankfully I could see it. Like it wasn't one of those things where like it's like a dream. I just see this on TV. I just see a whole bunch of white people with all of these degrees. Like, it was people who looked like me, and not only looked like me, but literally sitting at the same dinner table, right? Like that, like, and that's a difference as well. I mean, like, that's important as well. It's like, seeing black people is important, right? Just seeing someone who looks like you there is motivation, but it's even more motivation because some people feel that, like, oh, that's like, you know, you have these like generational curses or like these family curses where it's like, Tim, I see you doing very well, right? Yeah, you're my role model. I look up to you, and I'm just like, okay, like, I really want to get to that point, right? But it's another thing to say that, like, that's just Tim, right? Like, this cannot happen in my family, but you see someone literally like within arm's reach. Like, it's like we're eating dinner together. I'm FaceTiming you and stuff like that. And I guess it, back to like your definition, it's probably like a blended thing where I still have that like close interaction with them, so maybe that is like a mentor, but I really wasn't asking my sister for advice. Like, it was just, I see you doing that,
so I know that I can,
exactly. I know it's feasible, and I'm going to get to it. So I think those were probably the first
bro,
the three people I would consider like my role models.
That's crazy, because I felt the same way about my sister Diamond. So she would it was almost just like what you said. I didn't necessarily go to her and be like, you know, like, how do you study, or like, how do you, you know, put this time in. And a lot of the stuff that she would do was just, it seemed like a breeze. Like, she would just do super well in high school, super well in college, like, and it was just like, I didn't really see like the work that she was putting in, but because she was doing those things, it was kind of in my mind like, okay, well, this is my sister. This is like, we have like similar genes.
Right.
It's like something is, you know, like, it's possible for me to be able to like, you know, do some of this stuff. So she definitely did set the tone, like set the tone as far as that. Yeah, for sure.
Cause bro, you look at, like, I'm a huge Jay-Z fan. I think everyone who knows me know that.
I am
and
too,
it's like, I would want to say he's my role model, but like, there's a certain, like, I'm a practical guy. Like, I'm not looking to be a rapper or a basketball player or something like that, right? So it's like, when I talk about real role models, it's like those common folks, right? It's like, I feel like, not knocking them, definitely like respect his hustle, but me just being realistic, I'm just like, I don't know if I can, like, knowing my talents and stuff like that, can I really say he's like, maybe like from a business perspective, so him as a businessman now, I'm like, okay, I can definitely see him as like a role model. But back then it was just like, I like your music, but role model in terms of me like looking up to you and wanting to get to that point, I'm just like, maybe not. So that's why, like, when I think of role models, I'm like, my sister, like, realistic type of things. So it's just like, I know that, like,
that makes a lot
academia is my strong suit. Like, that's probably my only angle. I'm not getting a basketball scholarship. I'm not getting an art scholarship at all. So
and then the thing is with Jay-Z, it's not like I mean, of course, like, rap can be, you could say that that's a business, and I mean, like, it is, you know, in some sense, like, it is a business, but you can't necessarily say that, like, he started off as a business person, this is how he made his money, and now he's a billionaire because he did like those things, but like, he got his money first from rapping and like being like an entertainer, you know what I mean? So I definitely feel that. I've been looking in, well, first I valeted at the Magdalena when I was still at Morgan, but the guy that owns the Magdalena, and he owns the Brown Capital Management, I think we had talked about it a little bit, but he's black, and so, but that wasn't until, you know, college that I was seeing that, but like, I feel like for me, he's like that, like sort of someone where I'm like, okay, this is possible, you know what I mean? Because he's managing billions of dollars. I don't know if he's a billionaire just yet, but it's just like the way that he's built to like his business and like the path that he's taken. I feel like I could possibly, you know, take a similar path at some point. You know what I mean?
Right.
To get to that.
Oh, that's what's up. Yeah. How old is he? Do you know? Or if you were to guess,
he might be like in his 70s, maybe.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I think he's probably 70s. I'm thinking that.
Yeah, that's not
bad. But yeah, you had mentioned like being from Baltimore and like, well, just like having people directly in front of you, and you had mentioned not necessarily having those people, you know, directly in front of you, like knowing that it's possible. Like it might be a friend of a friend that went to college, you know what I mean? Do you feel like there's a way for us in Baltimore to, I don't know, like setting up, I'm thinking now, setting up like some type of org or, you know, nonprofit where you give people mentors, I guess, like that, or give people like role models, because that's what my vision of this. I want people to just go to this and be like, oh, okay, like I see black faces in, you know, certain spaces, and like they, you know, they're able to accomplish these things. Like, okay, like this is how they went about doing this, and this is how they did it. And that's what I really want for people to go to this for, because I noticed that I see a lot of, it's a lot of podcasts out there, and there's a lot of, like there are a lot of motivational podcasts out there, but a lot of them is, you know, like sort of white, like it's predominantly just like white guys, and like they're coming in and they talking about like all of the things that they accomplished. But yeah, I stopped watching it at a point because it was just like, I mean, of course, yes, you can accomplish some of the things that they've accomplished, but like as far as it being like fully relatable, you know, it was like I didn't feel that like same connection, you know what I mean? Right. But yeah, I don't even know what was I. I don't remember where I was going.
No, you were talking about Baltimore, like role models, building like a mentorship and stuff like that for people. I mean, your question around if we need it and if we should, I definitely agree that we do. I do think there are like organizations out there. Yeah. I just think they're like
how much reach they have. I
right,
guess.
Exactly. Like grossly unutilized, and then to your point, I don't know what their missions are really, and like what their target is. Because to your point, like I don't know who they're reaching. Like honestly, so I do think like there is a need for it, especially like similar to like the concept that like you're having with like your podcast, like showing people that like regular folks, I feel like, love Baltimore to death. If I didn't, I wouldn't have moved back, right? Yeah. Could have stayed in New York, but like, I see the potential in people. The thing is, I feel like, and it's just my opinion, but we glamorize like that fast money.
I wanted to get into that, so yeah, go ahead.
Back to like Jay-Z. Rapping and stuff, like the same reason I said like Jay-Z isn't necessarily my mentor, because I'm just being realistic. As a businessman now where I am, I can look up to him because I do feel like I can emulate a lot of what he's doing. But I knew I wasn't going to be a rapper. I knew I didn't have the skills for it, right? Like the talent personally, right? And I feel like we look up, or Baltimore in general, look up to the folks and like the flashiness and all of that stuff, and it's just like, one, are you serious about your rap? Can you rap, right? Are you serious about your rap career? And it's just like the professions, like now we have this weird thing, and it maybe not be unique to Baltimore, but being here, I just see it. That's like this weird, I don't know what the fuck you call it, but like everyone's on this like no 9 to 5, not working for people. And I'm like, yes, that is all right. I'm in that same boat where eventually, but it's like you got to take baby steps, right? And like we need something to show people that like these are regular folks. I don't have any special sauce. There's nothing unique about my path or what I've done. A lot of people don't like to say it, but I'd be the first to say that like part of it was luck, right? Like I was just at the right time, or at the right place at the right time with the right person who invested in me, and I still don't back to our discussion about like imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I still don't understand, like I can't explain like why I got to where I was, but it worked out. But there aren't too many like programs or even like podcasts, to your point, that like expose that type, where like someone sitting there and just be like, look, yeah, you might think I'm successful, but I have no idea how the fuck I got here. Right? Like, I can't tell. Like, I can pinpoint certain things that worked out for me, but I can't, like, I'd be lying and saying that, like, oh, I did. Like, I can't give you no cheat sheet, right? Like, I can't give you no playbook to be like, oh, yeah, here's all I've done. Because I'm just like, look, a bunch of people, they helped me out. Why did they help me out? Because I wasn't even in the mental space to receive the help, but they did. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what we need, where people show that, like, look, anybody can do this shit. And a lot of times, like, people, I guess it's just, like, who we are as individuals. Like, with enough drinks, I'll probably, like, I could get to that point where I start thinking that, like, all of this was my doing. But a lot of people to do that, right? Like, we like to say that, like, oh, yeah, I did all of this, right?
I'm that man.
Which drive people away, right? Because it's like, I don't want to hear a podcast or have a mentor that's just telling me, like, forcing a whole bunch of options on me, thinking that, like, yeah, what, like, they have that secret sauce and and they just know it all. It's just like, no, like, we need programs, like you said, podcasts and stuff like that, where people just being, like, super honest. And just like you said, being open to be like, look, I don't have that shit figured out, but maybe I can connect you with some people and you might get lucky as well, right? Like, and that's just as valuable to just be like, okay, like, no one's guaranteeing anything. But like I said, Baltimore, the two problems is, the first one being that, like, everybody like, no one wants to 9 to 5 and live like a regular life.
I was thinking about going back to that. Because it's like, one thing for me now, right? It's like, okay, of course, a 9 to 5, you know, working for yourself, like everybody, you know, you wanna, well, not everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people, you wanna be able to sort of do what you want, be your own boss,
right?
You know, have that flexibility. But I feel like you have to also think, either you can, like, start from the ground, like, and, you know, build up to it, and, you know, struggle with the, like, you know, you can, like, if you're coming from a certain economic, like, point, and you know, you have to, like, sort of penny pinch to, like, really get your business off the ground. Or, like, I'm thinking you can get that 9 to 5, you can have something stable, and then you can sort of, like, on your spare time, sort of work on those hobbies that you have, or, like, that business that you want to work on, and you can, like, figure out whether or not, like, if this is a good idea, if this will work. But you'll have money to be able to fund whatever that idea is that you have. I feel like that is a, you know, one of the ways, I guess, to go about it.
To be honest, it's, in most cases, the only way to go about it. Like, you brought up a good point that, like, whether, like, it will be a short-term decision, but, like, you need capital to run a business, right? So, like, you need the funding, to your point. In most cases, that is getting a 9 to 5, such that, like, you have a steady income that you're making on your own, right? That you can fund your particular business. And people don't really, like, understand that very vital piece. It's like, okay, you don't want a 9 to 5, you want your own business. How are you going to fund that business, right? Like, unless you're telling me that, like, you have a family that can support you from a financial perspective, or you're telling me that you have investors, and that's another option, right? So you don't have to work. If you have a really good vision,
and you can pitch that idea to
but from an investor perspective, two things with that. All right, it alleviates you from getting a 9 to 5, but one thing, you now lose creative control, right? Because like, you might have a vision that you are very interested in, but the more outside money that you bring into it, the less control you give up in terms of your vision. And you could find people who, like, are fully on board with your vision, but that's rare. So that's one thing people don't think about in owning their own business and not having a 9 to 5 to fund it. And then the second piece is that, like, you just gotta have your shit together. Like, all I's have to be dotted, all T's have to be crossed, because think of it, again, if you're looking for outside funding, I want to say business plan, and I want that shit to be bulletproof. Some people want some like these contracts get crazy because like you're like people gotta like
they want to know.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want to know that this shit is going to be successful.
Yeah.
But you can do, and this is subjective, but like the smarter route. You have a 9 to 5. Make sure you have, I guess, I wouldn't even say a career, like a profession that like you have that balance where you can still work on your business. You get that steady income. You invested in driving your vision forward in terms of like you owning your own business. And then the beauty of it is that it's your money, right? Like, and I'm only saying that because like I'm in that situation like myself where it's not even like I don't want to work for someone, because I'm no stranger to like sacrifice. So it's like, it's not the, I don't want to like listen and take orders. I just have a bunch of things that I feel like, I'm very passionate about. I feel like I'm good at. I've gotten people tell me that I'm good at, that I should just monetize it, right? So I'm at a point where like I just want to own my own business, not again to be like, I work for myself, because I don't care about like shit like that. But I do think that there are things that, knowing myself, I'm good at. Why not monetize it? I'm doing it anyway. Like, let's just put some money in, if I can get like a return on it. But yeah, like I'm using my business or my job to pretty much fund that. Now I don't have a timeline around like when or if I'll quit, but like it helps because at least at this stage I'm very passionate about like my vision and my ideas. So I'm not bringing it to anyone. I want to use my own money because, or maybe the bank's money if you will, but like I don't want to put investors there, like people, because being honest, I am very serious about the concept and the idea, such that like I don't want anyone messing with that. Like I don't. And I can, I'll caveat and say you can find investors that like literally want to throw money and you could do whatever, but that's very rare. Who will give money? Like no one signs just a blank check and just be like, oh yeah, do whatever the fuck you want with it. So I'm like, at this point, like I'm very much using a 9 to 5 to fund my business. And back to your point, like people don't think about like the capital. Everyone wants to be their own boss, but it's like, okay, again, how to, like, before you make money, you got to put money into a business. And how can you put money into a business? If you don't have a job or any income that you've worked to save up, like, but again, people just don't think about like the, like from a high level perspective, right? It's like, okay, what is the full picture of like what I need to do to get to that point? Everyone's just looking at like the end result, owning my own business. So many steps before that you need to like flesh out. Shit sounds good, but yeah, people don't want to put in the work though.
And where does that come from? Because I have the same thought as far as, you know, Baltimore and just that perspective of being, you know, everybody is up in Baltimore. Like
right.
Everybody has money in Baltimore, and like, everybody is just doing super well. You know what I mean? Like, but do you think that that's just driven from, you know, I guess like social media, not social media, like the mainstream media, I guess, like you know, rappers and stuff like that, and I guess entertainers, like this is what success looks like, and like. And I'm also thinking about the image of, you know, like people that are doing illegal things like drug dealers. I feel like they also set that tone. You know what I mean? As far as like what is cool to do. Right. So it's almost like, I don't know. I feel like I'm jumping a lot, but
no,
it also
I follow you though.
It almost feels like drug dealers to an extent are the like role models, I guess.
Yeah. No, they definitely the neighborhood heroes, bro. Like, they're definitely the people that's like, oh, like she, whatever the case may be, like this individual looks like they're doing well for themselves. And then once you unpack like how they are doing well for themselves, you're like, I want that as well. And also it goes back to like people just not thinking that like another approach is within arm's reach.
Yeah, okay, yes, that's a good way to put it. And and going back to Jay-Z, he was doing some interview, but he was just pretty much talking about the end result. So he was saying that like everybody wants to emulate the end result, but not the process.
Right.
So a lot of times people, they'll go out and you put on like a nice, super nice fit, but behind closed doors, you're not doing so well. You know what I mean? Like, so you're looking like you're doing like the best things ever, but internally or like actually in reality, like you're not really doing those things. Right. So yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that.
No, I mean I think most people are like short-sighted. Like that is like a very short-sighted mentality to have. Where, like you said,
that's what I wanted to tie that in.
You just made $500. You choose to spend it on a $400 outfit because there's a party there, right? And you have a bunch of, and I'm just using this like as an example, but like it's that thing where, like you said, like people want, and I've been victim of it, or not even victim of it, like I've done it myself. So I've been in a space where yes, I've grown mentally, but like I've come there. So like I'm not one to like judge anybody who feel that way.
I definitely have had that too.
Right. Where it's like, I just so that people don't, like, I don't want anyone to feel like attacked or anything, but like like I've been into a space where I want you to understand or at least think, and this just goes to like psychology and shit like that. Like I want you to think that I have it today, right? And like I said, like that's a very short-sighted type of like thinking, because had you saved that money in the long term, you really be able to do that. Like I'll tell you this, one of the hardest decisions that I had to make in moving back was whether or not I want to rent my own space or stay with my brother. Why that was so difficult is because, again, like the perception, right? It's like I got a good job, like why not live on my, like why not live on my own? I've lived on my own for 6 years when I was in New York. I come back and now I'm like staying in a room where I'm used to having my own apartment, pools and all of that stuff, right? It's like, but again, short-sighted, right? I'm thinking of like, what will people think of me now?
Right.
Where I'm just like
the bigger picture.
Exactly. I've rented for 6 years, to your point. Like, so from a long-term perspective, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm sacrificing now, but imagine when you're not paying someone else's mortgage, right? Like, I've paid someone else's mortgage for 6 years. I'm setting myself up to a point where when I really come out, it'll be a space that I own, right? Like, not knocking anything in, like with like renting, but again, like that was very short-sighted for me. Like, and I feel like, back to your point around like people living essentially like beyond their means, it's because like they're thinking very short-sighted, where it's just like, okay, what are people going to think of me now?
Right now.
If tomorrow, if that means that like I can't eat, or I gotta make some adjustments just to like pay for basic necessities, I'm gonna do that. But for now, all I know is it's a party, right? Like it's a party, I gotta get fresh. It's Miami, I gotta like splurge. You get what I'm saying? And it's like we just completely forget about, well, there's a whole nother day where like that shit that you just spent, you can't take back. Like, and now you're just like, damn, yo, yesterday was fun, but probably would have been smarter to like just save. Now I'm a regular dude. Like I wear designer stuff. Like I won't lie. Again, I'm not trying to be like hypocritical at all. Like I do wear designer stuff. But if you see it on me, I promise you, like it wasn't like my last, right? Like I will never.
Like just
in today's age,
spending your check.
Right. Exactly. No. So it's like, look, I've thought about purchases for years, literally. Like especially big purchases. Like big purchases I've made, you see it, And when I tell you that, like, yo, this shit has been in my cart for like 2 years, bro. Like, I've put shit in my cart for like 3 months. Like, I'm like, all right, if it's there when I really have it, then I'm gonna purchase it. If not, then it's not meant to be. Like, I've done that. Yeah. So I've definitely moved from like, yeah, let me just spend it because I got it now, to like, yeah, I'm trying to be a lot smarter with shit. And that's what people need. Like that. Like, that's the problem. Again, like, people are short-sighted. And how do you change that? I don't know. But like, once people realize that, like, yeah, this sacrifice today will really set you up,
right?
Like tomorrow or a month from now, like a little petty ass $10 or $20 that like you save to not eat out. You multiply that by like 10 or 20 times that you're going to be in that situation. Right, look what you got there. You get what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of people, they just think like real small. Like, oh yeah, it's just $50. Yeah, let me just buy this. You get what I'm saying? It's just like, well, you've said that about 10, 20 times already, right? And every time you're like, oh, it's just this petty ass $50. Right. And like, you aren't really like thinking about like in a long term, bro. If you make that decision of, no, I'm not going to do it, let me save this right now, you're in a better space. But
and so there was, I don't know if it still is, but there was I feel like Kanye, he probably is still on it, but like the whole minimalism wave, I feel like that could be a good I guess philosophy, I guess, if you call it, but for us, you know what I mean, maybe like us, like Baltimore maybe, but like instead of and you can buy, you know, those like really, you know, the expensive stuff or like the designer stuff. You can buy it, but like buy it in like, you know, maybe buy one pair of shoes and then just wear that the entire year. I know, so that's like probably a crazy concept. Right. Buy that one pair and then wear it for the entire year, or wear it for half of the year, and then buy another pair like once those are like, you know, whatever has gone with it. But making those thought processes or those philosophies, make that cool. So that, you know, it's not necessarily about I post this one picture on Instagram, and now that I posted this on Instagram, I can't wear this outfit again because I posted this on Instagram. Right. Like, make it to where as though it's cool to be, you know, a minimalist, or to be like simple, to keep things simple, you know, just dress the way that dress to what you can afford. And then I'm jumping a little bit too, but like Kanye, right? With his like Yeezy brand, of course, like, you know, some of his stuff, like, okay, this is Yeezy, but some of the clothes that he makes, like, it's like kind of like, you know, like the utility type of clothing. So it's almost like you could buy those clothes, although it might not be Yeezy specifically, but like you can have that same style of fashion, but you can get it for a more affordable, you know, price. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It's like, why, like, can we, I guess and I feel like we could, but like getting to that point where it's like being more, you know, thoughtful, like what you were talking about, like being more long term, and just being minimalist, you know, we can kind of get out of that, you know, mindset, I guess. That's what I was thinking about.
No, but, I mean, I like the idea. Yeah, I definitely like the idea. I want to see more of it, for sure. Like, and the reason why I like clothing so much is because, like, clothing and fashion, it really is like a mindset. Like, what people don't understand is, like, if you have the confidence, like, you make people want to have that. Like, there's an aspect of it that like you don't even, sometimes you'd be shocked at like how inexpensive the things that I post on Instagram like are, right? And that's because like you build that confidence where people think that like you're really like wearing some shit.
Yeah, that's true. Because you could go to the thrift store and get something that like looks like super good,
exactly.
Like, you know, good
I
quality.
modify my clothes sometimes too, like cut them up and all of that. Like, and I tell people this story all the time because like my mother thought that like when I asked my aunt to buy me these like the sweatpants and like sweatshirt, like, or sweatsuits, right? Like last winter, got it in gray, navy blue, and then black as well. got it from Walmart, bro. Like, mind you, I don't even think like for all three I probably paid like less than like $60.
Yeah.
Right. And my mother was like, oh yeah, he must want to like wear to like work out. No, literally like Instagram, you could you'll probably see those sweatsuits there. And had people liking the pictures. Had people commenting like, yo, where you get your sweatsuit? And you get what I'm saying? Like, cause that is like what clothing is, unless it's like a logo on.
Right, it says it,
Right, and you gotta get to a point where like you're confident in like your ability to dress and influence people. That's just like, yo, like
it don't matter.
I can wear anything. Like I go to a thrift store, buy like a pair of Reeboks and shit like that, wear it with so much confidence that motherfuckers like, oh, these must be in, right? Like, and that's why like, and that's one thing that like people don't have enough of. That like, yo, it's really not the clothing and like the designers for real, like. And like I said, I do wear designer stuff, but like most of it is like you said, it's how you wear it. It's like the confidence. Like you gotta get everyone, and I would want this for like literally like everybody, because I feel like that's when prices go down.